a bit of like the context that we are living in. And then we will give the floor to other friends of GDAMS, Karen Hellows and Sean Connor, that will also explain a bit more about why we are still here. So now, yeah, for not taking too much of our time, I would give the floor to Anne Wright. Please, Anne, the floor is yours. Thank you so much for coming today.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm in a car right now, just coming from the Rome, Italy airport out to a little port on the coast of Italy as we're preparing boats for the Gaza Freedom Flotilla. And of course, when we're talking about the global days against military spending for the United States has given so much weaponry to the state of Israel that's been used on the genocide of the people of Gaza and also the ethnic cleansing of the West Bank. And then, as we know, of the things that are going on right now, where the United States and Israel have been bombing Iran, where Israel is bombing southern Lebanon. So the issue of trying to stop military spending around the world is very important, but it's very important for us in the United States because our country is as Martin Luther King said, the great purveyor of violence of the world. And we're certainly seeing it with all of the things that have been going on over the last 6 months in particular. And then you also look at the U.S. Going into Venezuela and kidnapping the head of state and his wife. You look at the threats that the United States is doing on Cuba. I just got back from Cuba and have been in Venezuela also since the first of the year. So the violence that is going on in the world with the United States providing weaponry and military forces is something that we in the U.S., of course, are protesting all the time. And we appreciate all of the efforts coordinated throughout the world to try to stop the military spending. So it is really, really a good thing that we're having this monthly opportunity to really focus on military spending in our countries. I live in Hawaii, which is one of the most militarized areas in the world, really. On the island I live on, 4 major military bases. We have upcoming the Rim of the Pacific naval exercises where I think it's 40 countries now. 40 countries will be sending vessels to Italy, to Hawaii. And there will be mobilizations of, practicing warfare in the Pacific. And where the United States seems to think that China is our enemy, it's focused on China. So there's so much that is happening in the world, and that we, as concerned citizens of the world, have this opportunity with the global mobilization against military spending from our countries. And from my country, the spending that we put on you all, selling weapons, giving weapons, that does nothing but make our country our world a very unstable place. So I appreciate the opportunity to be speaking with you all, and my apologies for being in a car, but I wanted to join in and urge everyone to really take advantage of this month-long of challenging the military-industrial complexes in our countries. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anne Wright, for your words. I think, as you said, it's really important to engage and to act, and we really appreciate that you took your time to participate in this session. And I'm sure that everyone it's feeling more motivated after hearing your words. And yeah, we hope to see you soon in other occasions, in other events. And now I would also like to give the floor to Jeremy Corbyn, that I think it's in the room, for also asking to share some words about the current situation that we are living in, and also some for sure motivational words from his side. And thank you so much also for taking the time for joining us. I think you're mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you see me as well?
Yeah.
Great,
Hello.
good. No, I'm in the street in Libya, in the north of Sardinia. And first of all, thanks very much for inviting me onto the call. And well done, everybody, on this month of action on public spending. In the case of the UK, arms expenditure is going up to immediately 3% of GDP, rising to 5% over the next 3 to 4 years. The Chancellor of the Exchequer, Treasury Minister, has announced she's investing a lot of money in direct arms manufacturing, as well as increased expenditure in all areas, and said she wants to make Britain into a defence superpower. And Starmer has actually spending even more money than Boris Johnson did, and sees a global role for Britain in a way that hasn't been seen since before the 1960s, when the government of Harold was pulled back from what was known as the East of Suez strategy. And so they're making Britain into a global organizational hub, and huge levels of military expenditure to go with it. And at the same time, ramping up the whole atmosphere of wars and threats and so on. And the media constantly complain about Russia. And big increase in military recruitment, which has not been very successful because young people are not necessarily very enthused with the idea of joining the military. And so I think we have a number of issues to deal with here. One is, of course, the immediate conflicts. I'll come back to that. But the second is the way in which the discussions on peace are seen as, by most of the media, irrelevant, not seen as credible or serious. And the whole idea is that every problem in the world has to be solved by military strength. And this, of course, is exacerbated by the language and the behavior of Donald Trump. And of course, the behavior of Israel towards not just the Palestinians, but also the people of Lebanon and every other neighboring country. And so we have this increasingly militarized atmosphere, which is designed to make us have to fight much harder just to get a hearing or get any kind of position. And it's that we have to address, but also address the economic consequence of this level of arms expenditure. This level of arms expenditure affects every other area of spending, health, education, housing, anything else. And indeed, only a couple of months ago, the welfare secretary in Britain, Secretary of State for Work and Pensions, announced that she wanted to cut $5 billion a year from disability benefits in order to give more money to the Ministry of Defence. She was temporarily defeated on that, but it is only temporarily. They're coming back for more. So they're actually quite blatantly trying to cut social spending in order to spend more on arms and so-called defence. So we have a big fight in the House. Next month is the end of this month is the opening of the Non-Proliferation Treaty Review Conference in New York. And also it's the opportunity for us to raise the global ban issue on nuclear weapons. And I've just finished reading Linda Pence's excellent book on no nuclear, which is, to me, a brilliant expose of the ghastly chain of racist discrimination, poverty, exploitation, and environmental disaster in the uranium-producing parts of the world, which are nearly always in the poorest places, inhabited by the poorest and most exploited people, Congo, for example, right through to the long-term effects of nuclear testing and the obviously unanswerable issue of what you do with nuclear waste and how do you ever keep it safely. And so I do think we need to do far more to expose the nuclear chain and the corruption that goes with it, and promote much more an environmentally sustainable, clean energy, and within, of course, a society that consumes less and recycles and repurposes and reuses more. So our arguments for peace are essentially bringing all those things together. But if we're to get a hearing from the wider public, we're not going to get it from most of the mainstream media. We are going to get it if we're able to demonstrate that we can seriously cut the level of arms expenditure called defense expenditure in most countries. And that in turn will produce better resources for education, health, housing, all the issues that matter. We also have to be serious in demanding peace. And whilst I welcome the ceasefire, so-called, between Iran and the USA, Israel is clearly not abiding by it. And yesterday bombed at least 100 sites in Lebanon, if not more, and continues the bombardment of Gaza. So the genocide against the Palestinian people continues. And the efforts of the world have not been put into bringing about a ceasefire and peaceful conclusion in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Instead, they've been put entirely into pouring more arms and weapons into it. So it's challenging the arms trade is the other side of things. These are not easy times for the peace movement, not easy times for peace activists and advocates. But it's in difficult times like this that we have to stand up and have to be counted. Hence the publicity we can generate around the NPT is important, and the solidarity marches with the Palestinian people and the victims of nuclear exploitation around the world are more important than ever. In Britain, we have established effective organisations like Stop the War Coalition, Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament, Palestine Solidarity, the own Peace and Justice Project, and others, and we are busy working on new projects all the time and new activities all the time. We're also facing, as most countries are, an increasing threat to civil liberties and rights. And that increasingly is going to become the focus of a lot of our attention. I have mixed feelings about it. At one level, I feel very angry. We have to devote our energies to protecting something we've always, when we should be campaigning around the world. But if we lose and give over to the state the right to control protest, the right to control debate, the right to control access to the media, and the way in which the state labels people, means that we actually damage political opportunities for future generations. So we've got to campaign on all these fronts, and that means we've got to be, above all, educative of the next generation of young people, not to walk away from the everlasting demand for peace, but to come towards it and be enthused and excited by it. That's what we have to do.
Thank you so much, Jeremy, for your words. And thank you a lot for taking the time for coming here. I think the overview
Could I just
yeah,
interrupt you 1 second just to
yeah,
say
of
that
course.
through the Peace and Justice Project, we're working on a number of issues, one of which is the book we did last year called The Monstrous Anger of Guns, which has sold very well. It's about the arms trade. And we use that book to promote discussions all over the country. And they've been very interesting. Sometimes arms industry workers come to them and engage in debate. Not always an easy debate, but engage in debate. It's a debate we have to have. We're also preparing for another book, 2 more books. One of them immediately on the results of the Gaza Tribunal that we did, which is the issues of genocide. That will be produced as a book in the very near future, and I hope you'll all access it either online or physical. And that will be very, probably 6 weeks. We're later producing a book on war and war issues, but in September, we'll circulate the date to everybody. We're having the third International Conference of Peace and Justice Project, which will be obviously emphasizing all these issues of peace. And whilst everyone is welcome to come physically if they can to London, we realize that's a big ask. It will also obviously be exactly as they would within the conference hall itself. Again, it's an opportunity to bring people together and sort through debate. Sorry to go on for a second time, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeremy. And yeah, I think I was having some maybe audio problems. I couldn't get some parts of what you said, but yeah, it's true that I think I got that it's important to have like debate, to have spaces where you can confront also other visions, and it's not always easy, but yeah, we think that it's important to do so, and it's also what we would like to do within the campaign and during the Global Days of Action on Military Spending. So thank you so much for joining us and for your words, and yeah, we hope to be able to collaborate also for future activities and for future actions. And now we would like also to give the floor to one of our active friends from the GDAMS campaign that is member of the organization Peace Boat. So I would like to give the floor to Karen Hallows that will explain also a bit what she does in her organization and how we can also engage. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you so much, Antonella, and thank you to Anne Wright, who's a longtime friend of Peace Boat. It's great to see you, and to Jeremy Corbyn. Thank you for those inspiring words. And as somebody from the UK originally, I've seen many times Jeremy speaking in the House of Commons in the UK on military spending. I remember hearing him last year during a debate on whether families should receive child support for more than two children. And this is exactly what we're talking about. It kind of showed it so clearly in the House of Commons that how can one of the richest countries in the world have children that are relying on food banks, and while spending ever increasing amounts on war and militarism. And it's a political choice, and it's one that makes no sense. My name is Karen Hallows, as you said, and I work for an organisation called Peace Boat, which is a Japan-based organisation. And and I personally have been involved with the Global Days of Action on Military Spending since its first year in 2011. And as many people might know, Japan has a peace constitution, which forbids Japan to have an army. But despite that, Japan is actually in the top 10 of military spenders worldwide. So it's an issue that impacts this Japan-based organization a lot. And our work focuses on peace building and disarmament, but also peace in its broadest sense. We're working on climate justice, environmental protection, gender equality, education. And what we see again and again is this, that military spending, as Jeremy quite rightly said, impacts everything. There's nobody working in civil society cannot say that military spending does not impact their work. It diverts resources that could be used to support people and communities, but it also represents something deeper, as already said. It's a clear political choice, a choice that makes our communities less safe. And for us, one of the most important things is all these years that we've been involved with GDAMS is to start conversations. On board our ship, we hold lectures and workshops talking about facts and figures and all the information and all this, but it comes down a lot of this, if you can just show the next slide, asking a simple question of what actually makes us safe. Is it military security, or is it human security? Because people are scared of war, especially with everything we see on our screens today. And that's why we need to engage people, to open up these discussions, find spaces to have what can be quite difficult conversations. And it's also really powerful. I'm so glad we had, we could hear from voices like Jeremy and Anne today, because it also, I think, has a big impact on people to hear to hear from voices like theirs. And we work closely with survivors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the atomic bombings. And one of the other things we've done is to ask them to share their thoughts about military spending. We've made video messages for us on GDAMS and talking about the real cost of militarism. And as Jeremy said, we have the MPT at the end of the month. We also have a conference in Santa Marta that I know I can see quite a few people who are on the call here from the climate movement. And this conference next month the end of this month is focusing on a fossil fuel phase out. And I was in a dialogue just yesterday on fossil fuel phase out, and military spending was a serious topic of discussion there on the need to redirect military spending towards a just transition. How are we going to take climate action, and where is this money going to come from? Military spending is somewhere that we can absolutely move it from. If you just show another slide. But engagement doesn't only come through speeches or presentations, but also we've organised different art workshops, just go on to the next slide, where people imagine how resources could be used differently. And the next slide. Thinking about, taking this amount of money and thinking about how that money could be spent on weapons and how it could be diverted to different ones. I mean, this is just one example. We had people drawing, had an outline of a missile and then turning that into different things that represented what they would rather spend the money on. Very simple, but it kind of engages people on a more emotional level to thinking about what is important to them and thinking about where they would rather spend this money. And on every voyage we've had over the last 15 years, when we've done something on GDAMS, we've done something a little bit different. And I think that's one of the key things about GDAMS is that although we're going to be hearing different ways to engage, there's no rules about how you can take part. It's up to each and every one of us. You can start conversations, share information, a discussion. And one of the things I was looking at when I was looking at some of the photographs of some of the things we've done in the past for today, and this particular exercise that you can see here, the artwork, this was asking what people would use $1.7 trillion on. And that was from a workshop in 2014. And now we're talking about 2.7. So although this campaign has been going for 15 years, the situation is worse and it is more vital than ever. So this to me really struck me when I was looking. I realized, you see them in a graph, but looking at the actions we've done of 1.7, now we're looking at 2.7 trillion. And how important it is now more than ever. And that's why we're still involved at Peace Boat, very much so. And we'll be doing many more actions this year to come together into this community, to think about what kind of world we want to live in. And it's the choices that we make that will define that. So really happy to be part of this campaign, and we'll be continuing to support it, and really happy to be seeing so many other people joining the campaign from all different parts of civil society, because there's no one that is not impacted by military spending and how our money is being used. Thank you very much.
Thank you a lot, Karen, for your words and for your presentation. Yeah, it's nice to see new people joining the movement, but it's also nice to see that there are people that were involved for a lot of years and they are still here because they believe that we can actually make a change and impact the world we live in. So thank you so much also for sharing some pictures of the activities that you do with your organization. And now, before going to give the floor to other voices from the movement to hear about their experiences, I would like to give the floor to Shirine Jurdi. I hope I'm pronouncing well your surname. That is member of WILF Lebanon, Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, because we know what's happening right now in Lebanon and in the in all the Mediterranean region. So yeah, we would just like to give you, Shirine, the floor to hear from you, and also to know if we can somehow support you as much as we can from here, because what's happening now, it's really absurd, I would say. It's nothing new, I could also say, because we are experiencing a lot of violence, genocides in the world. So yeah, we know that it's not easy, but yeah, we would like to give you the floor just to give us some words about the situation.
Thank you, Antonella. I will try to get myself together. It's not only that I am emotional today, but we are in a mourning situation in Lebanon. And as you said, unfortunately, normalizing wars because of militarization. And as Karen said, now from 1.7 to 2.7 trillions. Just look at the expenses and the resources that are being held to increase weapons and military instead of having development. And all of this military has its impact on the people, on civilians, on the youth, on women, on children. As we speak now, there are lots of children, women, youth under the debris in Lebanon. They're still trying to reach out to these people to get them out. There are families that are losing their loved ones. They don't know where are their loved ones. They are searching for their loved ones. We have more than 95 people who are still not recognized because of the weapons that are being used, because of the savageness and the aggression of the usage of weapons that Lebanon, as Jeremy rightly said, more than 100 bombs, 100 aggression in 100 places in less than 10 minutes. When we talk about military spending, we're talking about a political decision versus a development decision. And the money that is being spent on the production of weapons and its usage means that we have less development, we have less ability for people to develop themselves. I have some points that I want to raise in here about the transparency of the process that is being taken when we take the decision to increase the expenses and to increase the money that is being and the resources that we have to destruction. When we talk about weapons and military, we're talking about destruction. And the implications, if we're talking about 2.7 trillion, just imagine the implications it has in terms of the destruction of the resources that we have. So how much is it? So what is the transparency process of this decision making? Who is in that space to take this decision of making this expenditure to weapons? Where is the accountability, and what is also our role as civil society, as peace builders, as advocates of peace, of development? What is the process for us to make these people accountable and complicit? And how do we also calculate, and what is the formula, even in terms of a national interest, national development, national, I don't know, self-defense, whatever they want to call it? What is the calculation or the formula to have it in terms of the money that is being spent on military that is destruction? So this is something maybe we want to talk about and to see like what role can we play in this, because we have seen this for a long time. It's not only in 2019, it's not only in October 7 and the implications. We have been living this for the past, like through colonial rule and after the colonial rule and the state building approach that we're still trying to have in this region. Now the world that we're living in now, and we saw like this ceasefire, temporary ceasefire, but look also at the implications of the weapons that is being used. I can't remember the number that is being used for the 1 day usage of weapons, including fossil fuel, including the people that are being killed, the soldiers that are being killed, the innocent that are being killed. and the implications that it has with now the Strait of Hormuz being closed, the implications that it has on economic that impacts all of us, whether we are in conflict area that we are directly impacted, or you in your safe places. And this gives us back to what Heidi posted in the chat, what makes us safe, and what Karen also talked about. So what makes us safe? Is it the usage of weapons? Is it like us not able to make any kind of accountability to decision making, to the Congresses, to the House of Parliaments, not only in the US, in UK, in different parts of the in the region where there's a decision making level for the P5, or all of this. So look at now the implications of the usage of weapons in our region. And we see, unfortunately, that in Lebanon, villages are being destroyed in a systematic way, flattened to the floor. And this is also a concern that I want to raise for the usage of weapons. I do not have data, but Lebanon has a 3 tetronic. We had an earthquake the day before yesterday, 2 earthquakes in one day. I'm not sure which tetronic plate was that, and if it's related to the usage of these bombs that goes deep into the earth. But maybe Karen, this is something we need to discuss and to look into it. Yesterday they were having some interviews with people that were impacted, and they were telling them, so we need the blankets, we need so basic needs. And one of the things that they were saying is that depression pills. So that was part of that. So it was like, we need food, we need mattresses, we need blankets, we need depression pills. We should not normalize these discussions, and we need to do what Wolf has been working on for a long time. Let's move the money, but how we can do it collectively? How can we put our hands hand in hand? How can we do everything? I mean, like, we need maybe now all of us to go a step back and to look at what we're doing, build the movement, and try to act collectively, go down the streets, how we can impact the decision making, how we can impact the voting processes, how we can make the complicit, what kind also of engagement we can have at the low level. Though unfortunately now, if we talk about law, if we talk about humanitarian law, if we talk about human rights law in our region, I will not tell you that they will smile. Last thing I want to say, I don't know if you can hear it, but as I speak, I have to raise my voice even now. By the way, I don't even have the energy to speak today. If it was not for this meeting, I don't have an energy. But I said, like, no, I need to talk. I need to bring what is happening at the grassroots. Now, the drone is just above our heads, and it's so close, and it's so loud. This is another reason for depression pills. We do not want to die. We want to live, but we want to live also collectively. What happens in Lebanon, and now with the ceasefire negotiations, we don't know whether Lebanon is part of, not part of, because we woke up yesterday that Lebanon is part of this deal, but then we realized Lebanon is not part of the deal. How we can have, like, if there's no war, if there's no peace, as our late Edith Valentine would say, and I would like always to repeat it, if there's no peace in the Middle East, there can be no peace in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shirine. We can just imagine how difficult it can be for you also being here with us, but we really appreciate the fact that you wanted to speak with us, because I think it's important also to hear from people that are there and that are experiencing all of this. And yeah, from our side, we can just, I think, give you all the support and solidarity that we can, and try to raise our voices to give the message that you want us to give to the rest of the world. And yeah, I hope that like a good solution will come. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit hopeless lately, but it's not good to be hopeless, because we need to see also, like, possibilities for us to come. But thank you so much, really, for taking also the time to connect and to be here with us. And please let us know if we can do something, whatever things, just let us know. And yeah, it's really important also what you said about accountabilities, because there are a lot of responsibles for everything that is happening now in the world, that are responsible for the violence, for the aggressions, for the genocides, for the bombing, but unfortunately they are not facing any consequences. So yeah, maybe this is something that we could do as a global movement, just to push for them to be recognized as responsible, and yeah, for make them pay what they are doing. And now it's a bit hard for me also to continue, but yeah, I would also like to give the floor to some friends from our movement, from the GCOMS campaign. And I would like to invite first Cora Fabros, that is an IPB member and also member of Stop the War Coalition from Philippines, that would also give us a bit the view of her experience within the movement and within the campaign. And yeah, maybe will give us also some examples of activities that she organized in her community. Thank you, Cora. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Antonella, and good evening or good morning to everyone who have attended our our launch. It's not easy to speak after Shirine, and but at this point, I actually would like to say that at no other time have the relevance of a discussion on military spending been very, very important. When before it was more like, a week of trying to kind of explain what it is all about. I think over the years, IPB in particular, have come to terms in trying to adopt, the campaign, the global campaign on military spending, as one of its top priorities. And I'm glad that we are doing this despite the slow process that we have been going through. But I think that at this time, when there's just too many conflict going on, it has become an issue that's what we basically consider as God issue. Oftentimes in our campaign, we know that we can only be understood and be considered relevant when people understand it within the context of their condition. And coming from the Philippines, it's always been important for us to bring the campaign on military spending in urban poor communities, whether they come in the form of a simple discussion or lecture, or in several art forms that we have adopted: music, visual art, on-the-spot painting contest, for example, theater, street play, including kite flying, which we try to do every year. I've said it's relevant, but also for us in the Philippines, the increase in military spending have more than doubled over the past 3 years, I would say. But for this year, for last year and for this year, there has been a tremendous increase in military spending. And also together with that has been the increase in military exercise. or what we more appropriately call as preparations for war. So we have in the Philippines today, and the war games and military exercises are happening with 7,000 troops from different countries. Most of them coming from the US. From Japan, it's something like 1,000. And we're having these military exercises in different parts of the Philippines. And while it's true that we have actually been able to close the US bases in the Philippines more than 20 years ago, is it? Yeah, almost 30 now. They're back in different ways, especially over the last 5 years when China has become the excuse for more military hardware and military facilities building in the Philippines. So that worries us. And actually, the call for of most of our campaign is to kind of reduce military spending and prioritize human needs. So that has been a call, and we are moving towards, trying to collaborate with the academic institutions, where we know that it is important to prioritize and direct our campaign among younger generation. So it's an effort that we are trying to pursue, and I think this year it has been well received. That we are getting good responses. Also, we would like to take advantage of the Philippines having the ASEAN chairship this year, and bringing the issue, discussion, and highlighting the issue of military spending is one of our priorities during the 2 Leaders Summit coming up in May and in November. So that is our trajectory in the Philippines. Again, it is also important, we know, to really bring this message across the island. We are an archipelago, and with different languages, in fact, and that makes things difficult. And therefore, the use of other forms, especially art forms, Filipinos love music and theater. So there are forms that we continue to adopt so that the understanding of oftentimes what is considered as a complicated issue or discourse is brought down to a more understandable issue that brings it in the gut level, whether, especially the sectors of workers and peasants and women. So over the years, we've observed that more and more women participation are joining us in this. So I value this 1 month of trying to make this issue more visible. And I just wish that, we can have bigger chances of reaching out to more research and academic communities and more people in the ground where it matters most to understand that continuing increase of military spending is not the answer. War is not the answer, as they say. And we just hope that the trajectory of our own government would, kind of slow down in terms of being part of the US military umbrella that it is today. So thank you so much, and let's continue our work. Life must go on. So venceremos, as they say. Thank you, Antonella.
Thank you so much, Cora. And yeah, let's keep working and let's keep supporting each other. And yeah, we will win one day, I hope soon. But thanks a lot for your words and for your explanations about also the activities you organize. And now I would also like to give the floor to Cyrille Rolande Bechon, that is one of our friends from Cameroon, from Nouveau Droit de l'Homme. And I would also ask to Cyrille to give us a bit of an overview of what's happening in Cameroon and the activities that she also organizes, and also her experiences and her adventure with the GDAMS campaign. Thank you, Cyrille.
Thank you very much, Antonella, for giving me the floor. Hello, everyone. It's a very great pleasure for me to speak to this event. So, when I follow the speak of Shirine, I feel very interested again, and that is what made me be part of this campaign, how we can connect internationally, how somebody problems from Lebanon, from Iran, from France, from everywhere in the world, how we share, so some similarities, same fight, same thought, same hope. And I mean, that's for me what is very wonderful and interesting about this campaign. And I want to share all my support to Shirine. And I hope that all what she said, his testimony will inform, our campaign in the future, and also inform, our advocacy in the reform, in what we are looking for in this world. I think there are too many things happening. People, it's like, as human being, we forget that we fight for a human-centered nations. So it's like, while we are doing this, others are working to destroy nations, to destroy the world. So you can see how our work could be tricky and could be difficult. But I also think that it is good to keep hope, to keep this fight on, because human beings are from different kind, and that is why the world used to be like, you have the good way, the bad way, and yes, we have to navigate with all this in this terrain. Concerning our implication here as local organization and also IPB member in global campaign and military spending. Yes, I said that the first thing was really how I can connect and relate to other in the campaign. Because even though, we think that Africa countries in general and Cameroon in particular are not necessarily, those with the largest military budget, the facts remain the same, that African states, like many others, unfortunately prioritize military spending. When we look more closely and analyze the proportion, priorities, and expenditures, you can quickly realize that military spending has a good prominent place in politics. So, and we all know conflicts and crises are everywhere in Africa. Militarism is growing too fast. Sometimes, like, we just can't understand how, states are more rapid, in engaging in conflict, in militarism, than engage, in social needs, in well-being, in what is good for for the humanity. So as IPB, we then chose to stand for real peace, by demanding the reduction of military spending. I'm involved in this campaign because I think that states committed for sustainable development goals, and these sustainable development goals are for 2030. Then we are now in 2026, and we have conflicts everywhere happening. How can we keep them accountable about 2030? About sustainable development goals. They set up themselves and they commit for that. I'm involved in this campaign because we must reduce inequalities and the gap that continues to widen. I think the world with conflict, with crisis, the gap between rich and poor is getting worse. I think that the campaign is there for that also, to say that while we are putting money in arms, this it reinforce the gap. In Cameroon, we have consistently opted for a dynamic online campaign that identifies social sectors deserving urgent attention and calls then for our government to reduce military spending and to invest in those sectors. These sectors include household waste management, access to primary education, to school, access to health and to quality health care, access to drinking water, to sanitation, prevention of floods, climate, really basic needs, so yes, when we talk about basic needs, the bare minimum that the majority of the population desperately lack. Cameroon, as many other African countries, are very rich in minerals, rich in gold, rich in diamond, rich in everything, but we lack everything at the same time, like drinking water. And I think that it is not just fair that states can just do what they want and people can die every day. I think that's make me feel it is important to be in this campaign, to just speak out about these realities. And then even though we don't have the change today, but I hope with time we will mark our time and we will do something to have this change one day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cyrille. And yes, I think if we will keep doing everything that we are doing all together, I think we will arrive there. So thank you a lot for your words and for also explaining us a bit the situation in the African continent. It's important also to be aware of the situation in the different part of the world. So it was also like the strength of this global campaign, I would say. And now we would also like to share with you a video that Francesco Vignarca from Rete Pace Disarmo, our Italian partner, sent to us because he was supposed to connect, but he couldn't in the end. So he sent a video that we would like to show you, and then we will continue explaining you some new tools that we created for all of you.
Dear friends and colleagues, it's really a pleasure to be here with you for the launch of the GDAMS for 2026 and to bring the voice of our Rete Italiana Pace Disarmo, the Italian Peace and Disarmament Network, into this global conversation. Let me start with a simple truth. What we are witnessing today in Europe and across the world is not just a budget discussion. It's a political and moral choice, a choice about what kind of future we want to build and for whom. In Italy, for instance, military spending has been growing steadily, and the pressure to reach and exceed the NATO GDP threshold is now front and center in our political debate. We hear it in the parliament, we read in the newspaper, we see it in the government statements. What we hear far less often is a serious conversation about what that money could do instead for schools, for hospitals, for climate action, for international cooperation, for dignified work. That is precisely why our network of organizations across Italy has launched and is actively supporting different campaigns. Ferma Riarmo, Stop the Rearmament, is our domestic mobilization effort. Broad coalition of civil society organizations, trade unions, faith communities, and citizens who are saying clearly and loudly that the current rearmament drive is not inevitable, not necessary, and not acceptable. We are collecting signatures, organizing local events, producing materials, and crucially, bringing the issue into the community that don't usually talk about defense budgets. Because this is not an issue for a few people discussing it in the parliament, but it touches everyone. And then there is Stop Rearm Europe, our response to the European dimension of this crisis. The Europe Rearmament Plan, the Readiness 2020 Plan, which would mobilize hundreds of billions of euros for military purposes across the continent, represents an historic turning point and not in the right direction for us. We believe that European solidarity should be built on human security, green transition, social cohesion, not on arms procurement and military infrastructure. So we are working with partners across Europe, and many of them are in the audience and with us now, to raise this alarm and to demand a different path. Now, what does the GDAMS mean for this work? It means everything. It gives us a global framework, a shared language, and very importantly, shared data and evidence. The numbers and data that GDAMS campaigns help to produce and spread are essential tools in our advocacy efforts. When we go to a local council meeting, when we speak to journalists, when we hand out a flyer at the market square, we need those numbers. We need to be able to say, this is how much your country, your union, the world in general spends every hour on weapons. This is what money could be funded instead. This is the choice being made in your name. But, and this is something that I want to stress loudly, data alone is not enough. Information is necessary, but not sufficient. What we need is mobilization, real, territorial, grassroots mobilization. People in the streets, in the squares, in the town halls, petition that collect signatories, not just online, but door to door. Local politicians who are asked directly and publicly, where do you stand on this? National parliamentarians will feel the pressure from their constituency, feel the pressure to get different decisions for us. So the GDAMS 2026 appeal gives us exactly the kind of specific, concrete demands that we need to bring the pressure to bear. It's not a vague call for peace. It's a precise political ask directed at governments, international institutions. And that precision is power. It is much harder for a politician to dodge a question that is specific than a general aspiration that can be easily dismissed. So my message to all of you today is this. Let's use GDAMS as a moment of acceleration. Let's share our toolkits, our materials, our stories. Let's coordinate our national campaign so that it can be reinforced and they can reinforce each other internationally. And let's remember that the goal is not just to raise awareness, it's to change policy. It's to redirect resources, to make the case with facts, passion, that the security is not built with weapons, but with justice, with cooperation, and with investment in people. Rete Italiana Pace e Disarmo, our organization, our network, is fully committed to this campaign. We are with you in Italy and across Europe. Thank you.
So this was the message from Francesco. I will write to him also to thank him for the contribution. And I think that his words actually open the next part of this session, because as you said, the data are important, but they are not the only thing. And actually, we need to create more. We need mobilization. And this year, Central Hellas, with the support of IPB and the other members of the campaign, we decided to work on a toolkit, because we thought that having like gather a lot of toolkits that we were already using as single organizations, and that we also found around, would be good and attractive for new organizations and new activists to engage actually in what we are doing here. So we decided to create this toolkit with several options for people and organizations to take part in the GCOMS and to participate in the Global Days of Action. So I would give the floor now to Michelle from the IPB. That will explain us a bit more about what we created during the last few weeks, and you will be able to find this toolkit on our website. And of course, it's I would say that, I mean, now it's complete, but it's a kind of work in progress, I would say. So if we see that we are missing something, we can add it in the next days, in the next weeks. And our idea is also to try to update the material that we have also during the next years, because also the data, for example, we will need to receive the new CPRI data to update the information, and there is also a part more about climate. So you will see now when Michelle will explain the toolkit, everything that we collected and we put in it. And as I said, there is always the chance to update the information or to add something new. So yeah, I will give the floor to Michelle that will explain us more. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonella. So for my part, I'm gonna walk through with you about the GDAMS toolkit that we can use for this year. Let me just share my presentation. So as you are aware of, our GDAMS campaign will happen from April 10th to May 9th. So we hope to utilize this toolkit for this campaign period and even for the whole year. Okay. I think Antonella already gave a brief introduction of the toolkit, and as you can see, you can also scan this QR code that you are seeing on the screen, so you will have a direct access to the toolkit as well. And it's also available in our GDAMS GCOMS website. So in our toolkit, you will find the practical examples, templates, downloadable materials, and customized posters that you can use anytime. So to walk through, once you go to the homepage, visit demilitarized.org and then just click resources and then choose infographics and materials, then select GDAMS toolkit. You'll see that right away. So in several parts of the toolkit, we have several themes that we divided. So we have public awareness and action, public awareness and education action. So these are more about info sessions, webinars. You can also do workshops in your schools, in the universities, or at the community that you are working on. And we also have lists of films that you can use and also presentations that you can have. And on our website, once you open the homepage, you will see right away this interactive map. I think we'll just like to emphasize that this map, you can download it. You can filter. You can filter the current military spending in US dollars in your country, the share of the GDP from your national budget that goes to military spending, and also the per capita by year. So currently, this map is the data in this map is on 2024 on military spending. But once the CPRI data is going to release on April 27, we're gonna update this map right away, and you will have the updated information. Also in this map, you will find also GCOMS partners that's working in different parts of the world that you can connect and create or connect or collaborate activities. And for the one of the public awareness education actions that will happen in connection with GDAMS, the Earth Day. And I'll give the floor to my colleague, Emily, who can discuss this further. Emily?
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you, and thanks to all the speakers for this really motivational session. I think we all know we all need it, more motivation. And so just to say thanks again. Yeah, about Earth Day, maybe it's also worth mentioning that, as you probably all know, we also try to take advantage of different key dates during the campaign to try to mobilize more around some specific topics. For example, we have on the 15th of April, there is a tax day, and we will have a webinar about that. We have also, for example, the 1st of May is also the Workers' Day, so it's also a moment for people to mobilize more around that. We have, as the end of the campaign, we have the Europe's Day of Peace, which could also be a moment for a more like focused mobilization on the European level, and we will have also a webinar around that. And of course, we have Earth Day too, which is the 22nd of April. Since we've been working with other organizations and other campaigns also throughout the years, for this year it seemed like direct connection to also work more on the topic of the nexus between climate and militarization and the militarism. And a big thanks to the working group, the Arms, Militarism and Climate Justice Group, and many colleagues there that help us gathering a lot of information that we think it's useful and can be powerful facts and figures that can be used to really raise awareness on these nexus and create new actions and help, again, mobilize more and really make visible these nexus across the different movements, not only in the peace movements, but we really hope also to get more connections also with the climate movements. And we have been seeing this awareness also and positioning being more strong also over the past weeks and months. And that's why we created this material. You will also see more details on the website of the Week of Action for Peace and Climate Justice. We will just need some time to update it, but for now you can also see the past mobilization we have been doing in the past 2 years. As mentioned, we had 2 weeks of actions, usually it's in September, about that topic. But this year, again, we wanted also to mobilize around Earth Day. And as Karen was saying before, it's also important because at the end of the month, there will be the first conference in Santa Marta on the transitioning away from fossil fuels. So we see a lot of, again, connection and links and powerful moments that we can take advantage of. And we hope you can also use for your own campaigns. And yeah, about the specific material for Earth Day, this is just a screenshot of the toolkit. But yeah, just briefly, you will find a couple of pages on really fact and figures about the connection between militarism and the climate breakdown. We tried to make it as easy as possible, but again, still powerful with powerful figure and also easy to understand for people that are not really usually engaging with these topics. Then there is also a section on Q&A on the same issue that also can be used for campaigns, for example. And we are still working on some graphics. We hope to have a very big, we call them social media storm, as the one we will have usually on the 27th of April around the new figures from CIPRI. We hope to have something similar on Earth Day. And again, in the toolkit, you will have, as soon as they are ready, also the specific infographics. And the hope is also to have them easy, accessible, but also open to people to translate them into their own language, and that's apply for the whole toolkit. So it's also an encouragement for people to really take this material and use it and make their own material out of it. And if you want to share translations about anything with us, the visuals, but also the material, please send it over so we can also make it accessible for other people. That would be great. And the last point, is just the list of resources and more that we think, again, it's useful for people if they want to explore more on this specific topic, but we will have the same also. I don't want to take Michelle's topic here, but we will have the same also for the more general toolkit. I think that's it. And sorry for taking a bit long, but we thought it's really important this year more than ever to really highlight this connection.
Thank you, Em. And proceed with the digital media and campaigns. We have several resources that you can use, especially for social media, as we all know that our voices should be louder and be heard on these platforms. So we have on the digital media campaigns, you will see there on the resources part or the materials part, the whole toolkit for social media, media advisory tips and templates. If you want to reach out to the journalists, to the media channels, we have also that ready for you. And the Move the Money campaign that we do every year for the GDAMS banner. And also don't forget to tag the GDAMS account during this period. And also we encourage everyone to create a reel or a short video under 20 minutes or under a minute, because currently more people now are engaged on those short videos and those reels. So many people can see our message, and we prepare you some prompts. If you don't know where to start this, you can answer one of these questions and upload it to your social media accounts, and please don't forget to tag us. Just a guide for the social media resources, because you will see there a separate link for the social media. We created several uh, resources now for social media. You will have there, once you see the table, you will have the theme, the description on where to use it and what and when, and then the sample caption already. And you will have there the materials that's editable and customizable. As Emily mentioned, you can translate it in your own languages or just simply download it for your own use. You can copy the caption, or you can also create your own caption. These are like the what you will see on the social media, like the themes, the save the date. We also have the GDAMS appeal, the GDAMS banner, the GDAMS infographics for 25-24. As Antonella mentioned earlier, the 2025 infographics were in the current military spending of the countries will be released on April 27, and we will update soon as all the links in there. But you can use the 2024 if you want to use that, just to give just to set the tone before the April 27. It's also in there. And we also created this year the GDAMS military spending comparison, like and compared to the safe water access, to hunger, to malaria. This data is currently based on the 2024 military spending, but we will have it updated once we have the data for 2025. And also some Q&A materials if you just want to post on any random dates during the GDAMS campaign, you can see that some materials that you can use there. And as Emily mentioned, the GDAMS graphics and general visuals will be available on that too. Yep, I think I mentioned this already. The Move the Money photo challenge, we do this every year. It's also, the template is already available. You can also do this workshop at your school. Send photo to us, send photo that you're holding a paper. Where do you want to spend your money? It was 2.7 trillion dollars last year. We're gonna update it once we have the data also on 2025. And you can scan, we also have it available in different languages already, so you just have to scroll it down. Public demonstrations and events, as many of the previous speakers have already shared what are the activities that they done. For example, the Peace Boat, they done the voyage, campaigning against military spending. And also, please submit us your local actions. You can scan this QR code to fill out the form, or just take a photo of the screen, and you can send us here at this form to submit your local action, so we can put it in our events activity map. And yeah, and also like political engagement, I think it's already been discussed by we cannot emphasize more by Francesco. Call your politicians, call your parliamentarians for the reduction of the military spending, or totally opposing the war that we have right now. So we also have this materials that you can use, and also our GDAMS appeal that you can use and advocate for your local countries. And yeah, creative and cultural actions. I think many of the speakers prior to me already expressed this. And economic and fiscal actions. These are some ideas, but of course you can have, if you have also other materials or ideas on this part, you can also send us to us. For example, in some countries like in the US, they have these tax objection campaigns. Actually, we also have this tax day that will be happening, and we'll do a webinar on it, wherein you can, instead of where you can decide where you're gonna allocate your tax. And monitoring and accountability, of course, the tracking of the military budget in your country is very important already, and we have the map also that we can use on that. We're gonna send you this presentation so you can have all these QR codes or the link. But once you open the toolkit, you can have all the links, the resources that we have currently. So please join us on the GDAMS this year, and don't forget to tag us in social media. Please also send us your photos, your events that you will be organizing for this year. And I know we are running out of time for today, but I'd like to thank all the speakers before us, and would like to take a 5 seconds of silence just to remember all those people on Middle East, all those people who are being affected by this rapid increasing of military spending, and praying for all of them for just praying for us, those who are also standing against military spending and to oppose against war. That we are all doing this because we want to stop all the wars that happening around the world, and at least reduce the military spending by the governments right now. So thank you, Anton, and I'll be back. The floor to you.
Thank you so much, Michelle, and also Emily, for explaining this. I think I'm pretty happy and satisfied with the toolkit that we created. So thank you so much for going through the structure and explaining all the materials that we are providing to all the organizations and people that would like to be part of the campaign. And yeah, we are almost at the end of our session. I think it was really nice, and I also want to thank all the speakers and all the people that took the time to come and participate, to share information, messages, good words in the chat. And I would also now like to invite Sean from the IPB to give us some more closing words, let's say. And yeah, as Michelle said, please participate in the campaign from tomorrow, participate in the Global Days of Action on Military Spending. You will find all the needed tools and information on our website, and yeah, be part of the change that we want to see. And Sean, please, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, dear colleagues, for staying on for our hour and a half today. It's been a really engaging and interesting session. But of course, it's just the start of what will hopefully be an extremely exciting and important month of action against military spending. Of course, military spending, as we know, is not the main issue. The main issue is the militarization, but this is only maintained through the spending, which is why we've gone with this focus. Many speakers have already pointed out up till now the state of the world that we're living in and the challenges that are in front of us. But we are at the same time seeing new opportunities emerge, new interest across societies around the world against these rises in military spending as they're seeing it affect nearly every aspect of their daily lives, from social services, education, healthcare, etc., to the climate catastrophe in front of us, to those, as we've mentioned, who are on the front lines of wars and violent conflicts, having to deal with the consequences of the actions of militarism. This is a global problem and requires a global solution. We all are working in different contexts, in different places around the world, but by coming together during these global days of action, we do believe that we can send a strong message to all of our world leaders and to people around the world who are concerned in these moments and may not yet know how to react or how to engage. So I hope that all of you will see this also as an opportunity within your own respective contexts to engage new activists, to bring new people in, young, olds, of all backgrounds, to really increase this movement that we have, to grow this movement, and to take this year moving forward, even after the global days of action end, to fight for the changes we want to see in the world, to fight for peace, to fight for justice, and to fight for humans and human security, not governmental and state security. We really appreciate all of you who've been with us here today. And of course, many were unable to join us, but are already planning their actions for these global days. So we look forward to what you all will do. Please keep us informed so that we know and can help spread the amazing work that you all do to a wider audience, and let us make the change that we need to in these moments. Thank you all so much. And we move forward. As Cora said, venceremos.
Thank you so much, Sean, and thank you, everyone. I think we have just a couple of minutes. I don't know if someone would like to say or share something. If not, I think we can see each other at the next webinar that was shared in the chat for the tax day, and you already find the registration form. And yeah, Norbert, would you like to take the floor?
Yes, just for a second. I left a message that Better World Info is a platform for the peace movement. And we recently had a relaunch, and we also strive to be an alternative Wikipedia for a better world. So not everybody is looking into the chat. So I just want to encourage you to visit betterworld.info. And if you feel inclined to give some input or even to collaborate, please let us know. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing it. So yeah, if anyone else would like to speak, I think we finish for today. So thank you so much for connecting, for sharing this time with us, and we hope to see a lot of your actions online. So yeah, please share them with us, and have a nice evening, afternoon, night, or morning, depending on where you are. Bye bye, everyone.